Gareth McLean is the biggest name in EFC, and for very good reason.
He's the only man in this organization to successfully regain his title.
Soldier Boy! And he taps out. Gareth McLean wins the middleweight title. He is the best middleweight on the African continent again. The very, very tough JP Kruger. McLellan goes in and finishes him in the first round. McLellan retains his title and shows who's number one yet again.
It's going to take something special to tear that title away from Gareth McLean. And there's a 20-year-old that might just do it.
Dricus du Plessis is setting the middleweight division alight. He is just a heap of talent, super dangerous striker, and a guy that just loves competing.
This kid made his debut at 19 years old, and a year later, he's challenging for the middleweight strap. This guy is a remarkable athlete.
Now he lands some ground and pounds with big elbows. Again and again and again, Dricus has landed. This could be it for Donovan Hawkey. Dricus du Plessis landing again and again, and that is it.
Dricus du Plessis is one of the most exciting youngsters in EFC.
We've got the confidence of youth in Dricus going up against the experience of the champion, Soldier Boy. This fight is going to be very interesting.
The middleweight champion, Gareth McLean, returns to his hometown to defend his title against the undefeated 20-year-old Dricus du Plessis. Plus, the hard-hitting Martin the Punisher van Staden returns to Durban to take on the former middleweight champion, Jeremy Pitbull Smith. And we see an MMA legend retire as Donovan Hawkey will lay it all on the line against the Angolan wrecking machine, Bernardo Mikixi. This is the Countdown to EFC 33, proudly brought to you by BetExchange.com.
Durban for me is a very, very special place. I grew up there, I spent most of my life there, my family, my friends are there. I still call it home, and I still love going back there.
Gareth McLean was born in Durban, a city on the coast of South Africa.
Growing up in Durban was a really, really awesome experience. I've only got the greatest memories of Durban, you know, and I do see myself going back there at some stage.
Gareth growing up was your typical little boy. I mean, he was always rough and tumble and a very happy-go-lucky little boy.
From a young age, Gareth had a passion for sport, holding on to dreams of becoming a professional sportsman.
I was a really good cricketer, and you know, a lot of people had put me to go on and play provincial cricket, and I chose differently. I decided to play rugby, and I pursued this career in rugby, and I pushed really hard. I picked up a serious injury which pushed me out for a little bit of time.
After the injury, Gareth continued his rugby career, eventually getting a potential shot at playing for the Sharks. But his fitness was a concern, and that was when he met an MMA coach called Jason Foster.
I needed to work on my fitness, and I went along to the Sharks fitness coach at that time, who was an MMA instructor, and he thought I had a great talent for it as the contract with the Sharks disappeared. So I pushed into MMA, and it was the beginning, and it's where I am today.
Gareth, however, became disillusioned with MMA and decided to move to Johannesburg to work for his father. It was there that he met Richard Kwan and Norman Vessels, and the rest, as they say, is history.
You know, when Gareth walked through our door, he was nothing more than a schoolie from Durban, you know.
The conversation that I had with Richard and Chef at the time was, what do I want to be? What do I want to achieve out of this? And I said, I want to be the best fighter in the country. And they said, well, you need to commit all of yourself to me. And so I did. I left my dad's work and started a career in MMA.
He stuck it through. You know, we put him through hell, and he stuck through. And eventually EFC popped up, and he had his first EFC 1 fight, and he did what Soldier Boy does.
Gareth Soldierboy McLellan!
McLellan made his debut at EFC 01 and went on to tear through all of his opponents. And at EFC 08, McLellan was crowned the inaugural middleweight champion. But while the newly crowned champion was celebrating, a 17-year-old boy was sitting in the crowd, vowing to himself that one day he will have that belt around his waist. Born in Welkom in the Free State province of South Africa, Dricus du Plessis was the youngest of 3 boys.
Awesome geweest. Soos jy kan saam joe, jy kan saam bike ry, jy kan saam stoei heeltyd en ek dink dis 'n groot deel van hoekom ek is waar ek is vandag.
Daai reël van die oudste boeties die sterkste het baie vinnig vir ons weggeval en ons almal was in fighting based sports geweest van kleins af. So vanaf hy so 15 was het ons maar 'n bietjie terug staan en hy like dit te veel.
As a young boy, Dricus was introduced to judo, a discipline he took to immediately. Unfortunately, when he was 9, his family moved to Middleweight, and he was forced to stop with the judo training. But this did not deter the young du Plessis.
Ons het die judo helemaal gelos, toe maar net concentreer op die rugby. Ja, en toe Dricus so staan het 7 of 8 was, toe sê hy nee, hy wil nou weer fight. En toe gaan Dricus oor kickboxing toe.
Dricus het aangegaan met anders, hy het van kontaksport gehou, so hy het aangehou met kickboxing en boks en enigiets wat dit is ons, en ja, ons het dit support.
A passionate rugby player, Dricus had to make the difficult choice between his beloved kickboxing and continuing with his rugby career, a decision that was easy to make in the end.
Ek het gedink ek gaan rugby volg as 'n loopbaan, dit was 'n groot droom van my. En so as die fight begin develop het, ek begin develop as 'n fighter, sê ek my pa, ek dink nie ek kan fighting opgee nie. Ek voel op die stadium of ek rugby kan opgee, maar ek sal nie fight kan opgee nie. En toe moes ek die rugby los en ek is nog nie eendag bly daaroor nie.
The decision was justified, as Dricus became the first South African to become a world K1 champion.
Hulle het ook gesê, dis ons geen Suid-Afrikaner het nog gedoen nie, ons moet nie ons hoop op sit nie. Hy het net die punt van verkeerd bewys en dit wat's belangrik en dis hoe hy is.
Now a decorated K1 world champion, Dricus was looking for his next challenge, and MMA was to be the young title holder's next destination.
Dit was my ultimate sport. Dit is al jy ultimately kan bewys. As jy kan K1 fight en jy ou vat jou grond en jy weet nie wat om daar te doen nie, dan is jou K1 maar pretty useless.
And at Team CIT, he found his home.
In the beginning, I thought just another punching bag. He's going to come and go like a lot of the guys who's been in my gym. And what actually convinced me that this kid was here to stay was after a couple of hard sparring sessions with guys like Michiel, guys like Leon, guys like Tumelo, breaking his nose, knocking him out, and he's back the next day training. Then I realized this light is here to stay. Ek het geloof aan die begin af en ek het net voel hoe hulle goed doen. Dis hoe ek beoefen. A great mind think alike en dis presies hoe ek hier bly en dit is my klub en ek sal nooit weer aan 'n klub wil train as hierdie.
But while Dricus was preparing for his first foray into MMA, Gareth McLean was set to defend his title against the dangerous Jeremy Smith.
Takedown attempt by Gareth. That time he gets Jeremy down, but Jeremy's got the deep unity choke. Deep unity choke. Victory. Jeremy for victory. Is the new middleweight champion.
Best thing that could have happened to Gareth McLean was that loss to Jeremy Smith at EFC 12. He has now reinvented himself and he's become a much better athlete because of that.
A devastating loss for McLellan, but out of the dark, shone a new light for the former middleweight champion.
I married my best friend, who has brought another dimension to my life completely.
I've seen a change in him from the person that I met to the person now, most definitely. And it's all been positive, but I see the hunger and I see the true hunger, the positive hunger that he has for the sport and wanting to achieve in the sport.
Definitely think the changes that's happened in Gareth's life has matured him as an adult, which in turn has matured him as an athlete.
With a newfound inspiration, McLellan went on to dominate all who stood in his way, eventually setting up a rematch with the middleweight champion, Jeremy Smith.
Smith McLellan 2. There's no doubt Gareth McLean has some serious skills, but he has a mammoth task in front of him with Jeremy Smith.
I felt comfortable anyway, you know. I felt I'd done everything right and I had made sure that I'd put together the perfect package to go and compete for this title.
McLellan trying to sink it in deep. He's got that locked up, does Gareth?
We planned a lot of the elbows and, you know, a lot of our style is to take the back and get the choke, because that's the easiest way to end fights.
Smith is holding on for dear life. Right down! Gareth McLean wins the middleweight title. He is the best middleweight on the African continent again.
McLellan made history, the first ever athlete to successfully regain his title, But in the background, another middleweight was making history of his own.
Dricus Stillknocks du Plessis.
Dricus du Plessis made his debut at EFC 21, defeating the powerful Tez Makuebu. Then at EFC 23, he went on to make light work of Bruno Makulu.
In his second outing, we actually started seeing glimpses of how good Dricus actually is. He came out early, got Makulu in trouble, and got the submission.
Now Dricus has got his back. That's it. Dricus du Plessis gets the rear naked choke. How good is this guy? What a talented.
So then he comes into his third fight looking to prove a point that he can stand and trade and put on a real show for the fans. And that's exactly what he did. He put on a show for 3 rounds and decided, look, I've got to finish this fight now. Took it to the ground, sunk in the choke again, and the kid's got a bag of tricks when it comes down to submissions.
Next up for the undefeated youngster was his toughest test yet, the MMA legend, Donovan Hawkey.
Now he lands some ground and pounds, some big elbows, again and again and again. Dricus is landing. This could be it for Donovan Hawkey. Dricus du Plessis landing again and again, and that is it. Declaring the winner by TKO, Dricus Stillknocks du Plessis.
Well, I'm looking for gold right now, as soon as possible.
Du Plessis was now guaranteed a shot at the middleweight title, but he had to wait to find out whom his opponent will be.
JP Tinkerbell Kruger comes in with a perfect 5-0 record. Garreth Soldierboy McLellan. He currently is the best middleweight on the continent.
At that point in time, JP Kruger was seen as the biggest threat to that middleweight crown. Again, we saw McLellan come out. He was ruthless, he was calculating, and he basically defended his title successfully without even breaking a sweat.
The very, very tough JP Kruger. McLellan goes in and finishes him in the first round. McLellan retains his title and shows who's #1 on the continent yet again.
Dricus has proved himself to be the next contender. We'll sit down with Gareth and his team, sit down with Dricus and set a date for the fight.
The time has arrived for 2 of the best middleweights in the EFC to collide.
Every night when he goes to bed, I'm the last thing he thinks about. In the morning when he wakes up, I'm the first thing he thinks about. And he must keep thinking about me, because fight night, I'm going to be that monster in his head that he needs to fight.
En nog nie die woord waaroor hy praat gesien nie. Soldierboy is net 'n persona. Dit is glad nie iets wat my intimideer. Nie, dis 'n naam waarna ek gesit en dink het, well done, hy het daaraan gedink.
The 2 best middleweights in the EFC collide as the middleweight champion, Gareth McLean, defends his title in his hometown against the former K1 world champion and undefeated Dricus du Plessis.
This is actually a massive fight for Gareth. Not only is he fighting to defend the middleweight title, but for the first time in his career, he's defending a belt in front of his home crowd in Durban.
I'm extremely confident in my skill sets. I'm extremely confident in my preparation. I'm extremely confident in what I do.
Not looking past Dricus, looking at Dricus as a threat, dealing with the threat. Once we dealt with the threat, then we move on. And that's what Soldierboy's going to do.
At EFC 28, McLellan easily swept aside the highly skilled JP Kruger and will look for another imposing performance against his young opponent.
He understands competition at the highest level, and he has succeeded. He's got this calm demeanor, and he can just tackle any situation you throw at him. How do you fight somebody like that?
After chatting to Dricus, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind, mentally, he is 100% ready for this fight. I haven't seen that sort of self-belief in someone for quite some time. He firmly believes he will leave there the champion.
Undefeated in 4 fights, Dricus du Plessis defeated Donovan Hawkey, one of the most revered MMA athletes, and now has his eyes firmly set on the middleweight title.
Nog elke dag wat ek in die gym stap, probeer ek vir hierdie fight. Geen van die ander fights maak saak nie. Niks wat ek gedoen het in die verlede maak saak nie. Dis net hierdie fight waarvoor ek oefen.
We've got a very, very strong team, and we go hardcore every day. We train hard, fight easy, and that's what's going to pull Dricus through.
It's the experience of Soldierboy versus the youthful passion of Stillknocks as Gareth McLean takes on Dricus du Plessis.
The right Soldierboy who turns up on the night, like we've been seeing in the previous fights. It's going to be a very tough war for Dricus.
He's on top of his game. he's strong. This like he's ready now.
Een van onze eerste vrouwen under pressure en ja, so be ready for a war. Ja, hij is de soldier boy, so hij moet nou bewijs en hij moet reg wees voor 'n war.
He attacked my integrity and he attacked my character as a person. So, you know, if that's the way you want it, then I'm going to give you a reason to hate me.
Gordon trying to get the top position though. Oh! And beaten the Punisher.
Got me an ankle lock, turned into a knee lock, and then I actually tore 3 ligaments. So yeah, it was a long layoff for me. It's been 10 months already since the surgery, but recovery's been awesome. I've been working hard and I'm back now. It was a career-ending injury and I managed to get back from it, and I feel better than I ever felt in my life. I feel amazing, and I'll be ready. August 30th, I'll be ready.
On the 30th of August, Durban native Martin the Punisher van Staden returns to the Hexagon, eager to put the career-threatening injury behind him.
We've seen it time and again in the past, when a fighter's been off that long, especially if it's been an injury, they come out a bit stop-start and a little bit tentative and not really believing in themselves or the healed bone or the healed injury. Martin van Staden has no off switch. There's no doubt he's going to come out there and he's going to be explosive and he's going to be exciting.
But a Pitbull is standing in his way as the former middleweight champion, Jeremy Smith, drops down to welterweight and aims to cause the upset.
I know for a fact that there are plenty of welterweights out there that are having sleepless nights, knowing that Jeremy Smith is now in the welterweight division.
Not too worried about losing the power. I think I'm going to be as strong as I was at middleweight. I think I'm going to be quicker and more explosive, so I'm looking forward to this.
Jeremy Smith took part in an epic battle with Michiel Opperman at EFC 29, putting in a fight of the night performance in his last stint as a middleweight.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good. I dominated. He caught me with that knee at the end of the third, but I recovered from it and I came back and I pushed, and I thought I did enough to win, but the judges saw it different. That's what happens when you leave it in the hands of the judges, I guess.
We saw two guys just completely going at it for 3 full rounds, and Jeremy was this close to actually getting his hand raised, but battered, bruised, punches, kicks, elbows, everything, and he keeps on coming forward. His fights are always exciting.
Martin van Staden is known as one of the most powerful punchers in the EFC and will hope to land the decisive blow in front of his hometown fans.
Back at home, I can't wait for that. The Durban fans can expect the Punisher, the original Punisher, the guy that walks in there to try and finish a fight, the guy that walks in there to try to destroy his opponent, the guy that walks in there and doesn't fear anybody.
Not a lot of EFC fans know this, but these two have fought before. Many, many years ago, Jeremy Smith actually handed van Staden the first loss on that record of his. There's absolutely no doubt he wants to come out and he wants to rectify that loss.
I've evolved as a fighter. My all-round MMA game has evolved, and to be quite honest, I don't really think, from what I've seen, he hasn't really evolved. He's still the same fighter he was 5 years ago.
I know he's progressed as a fighter. I've progressed a lot as well. Maybe most people don't think I have, but I have. And I'll actually look forward to showing him how much I've progressed.
These are two athletes that leave everything inside of that hexagon. They fight until they can't fight anymore, and this is going to be an all-out war.
This certainly does have fight of the night and a potential fight of the year written all over it.
Two of the organization's most respected athletes will collide inside the hexagon as the power of the Punisher goes up against the precision of the Pitbull. It's Martin van Staden versus Jeremy Smith.
Goes to ground, it's going to go to ground. It's to keep standing, it's going to keep standing. I'm going to look for any way to beat him as quickly as possible. That's the bottom line.
I think he thinks he's ready for the fight. I think he thinks his knee will hold up. I don't know. Let's see. Let me test it. I'll kick it once, and if it falls, then it falls. Last time I kicked him on the other leg and he fell over. Kicked him once, he fell over, I choked him up.
Every opportunity I get, I'm going to try to class him, you know, and I'm going to try and finish his fight as quickly as possible. I don't get paid for overtime. I want to finish this fight.
Martin, let me show you how much I've improved. Let's go to the fight and let's see. Let me show you. Let's have fun. Let's go fight. Hope you're ready for this.
He is a legend in African MMA, a pioneer of the sport. And on the 30th of August, he will have his final farewell.
Fighting out of Bluff, Durban, Donovan Bam Bams Hawkey.
Donovan Hawkey is one of the first names I learned in MMA, and he's a true pioneer of mixed martial arts in Africa.
Donovan Hawkey is an absolute legend in mixed martial arts in South Africa. And now he's getting to fight in front of his home crowd, the place where he originally built his name.
With over 30 professional MMA fights, Donovan Hawkey is one of the most experienced MMA athletes in the EFC.
He's one of the most influential fighters in MMA in South Africa at the moment.
Giving 10 years of a person's life to a sport really shows, a lot of dedication and a love for the sport.
Having announced his retirement in July, Hawkey will look to go out with a bang in front of his Durban fan base.
The decision came when I was obviously with the announcement that there was going to be a show in Durban. It is my hometown, and I think it's only fair that that's where it should end here.
He's come to the end of his mixed martial arts journey, and what a fitting way for him to go out. He actually gets to compete for EFC in front of his hometown.
I don't know how emotional the fight's going to be. It's the last one. And also being in front of your home crowd, you're going to give it your all. So I think it's definitely going to be something else.
A fantastic atmosphere is guaranteed when Donovan makes his way to the Hexagon. But waiting for him there is an opponent hell-bent on revenge.
There's absolutely no sentiment from Bernardo's side that this is Donovan Hawkey's last fight. He's out for one thing. He wants revenge.
A former heavyweight title contender, the Black Panther has crossed paths with Hawkey before, getting viciously knocked out by Bam Bams. This fight, however, is all about revenge for the Angolan wrecking machine.
I'm going to show him here that it was the Bernardo, the amateur Bernardo. This is the new Bernardo now. They will see, he will see.
He's always had raw aggression and talent. He hasn't always had that perfect skill set to go with it. So we're just trying to, polish off the diamond and get him a little bit less rough.
Making his light heavyweight debut at EFC 33, Bernardo Mikixi will be a dangerous prospect for Hawkey.
He used to walk around as a very small heavyweight, but he went toe-to-toe with the best in the division. He racked up many wins, and he was even a contender there. So for him to be at light heavyweight, throwing around some massive bombs there, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
I've been saying since the beginning he's not big enough for heavyweight, and he's looking a hell of a lot better now. He's under 100 kgs, super fast, loads of energy. There's no quitting during training. I think it's the perfect division.
But not everyone shares Mark Herbert's sentiment regarding the Black Panther's weight cut.
He's not going to make light heavyweight. His stomach's quite huge. I don't see it happening.
You get those guys that are vanity-based, and you get those guys that are fighting-based. And Bernardo likes to be big. He relies on his strength to fight.
Usually when Bernardo walks out, the crowd always gets behind him. He's a fan favorite. But in this case, there's going to be thousands of fans shouting Donovan Hawkey's name. It's going to be very intimidating for the Black Panther.
For the last time ever, Donovan Hawkey will be walking out to the Hexagon to lay it all on the line in front of the Durban crowd. But the Angolan wrecking machine will look to spoil the party.
Come EFC 33, there's going to be a lot of miserable surfers in Durban. Look out. He's going to come in strong and hard, and he's going to take the division.
Donovan's fought him before. Donovan knocked him out in 4 minutes. I think it's the hardest he's ever been hit. So he's going to have that on his mind the whole time.
I'm already on stand-up. I'm already on the ground. Anything that will come, he will meet me.
It's going to be my final show, so I'm going to be giving 100%. And if you go back and Google my name, watch some of the post-fights or whatever, you can see it's going to be crazy. So.
If I go back to all my fondest memories and my happy times, it's Durban, I wanted to fight in Durban for a long time, and now I'm getting an opportunity. I think it's probably going to be the milestone in my career. I don't even think I could even put that into words.
For the first time in history, EFC is heading to Durban, South Africa. Middleweight champion and Durban native Garreth Soldierboy McLellan puts his title on the line against the 20-year-old undefeated fighting sensation Dricus du Plessis. And crowd favorite Martin the Punisher van Staden returns to face off against the ferocious former middleweight champion Jeremy Pitbull Smith. Plus, MMA legend Donovan Hawkey will contest his final fight in his hometown as he takes on the Angolan wrecking machine Bernardo Mikixi. EFC 33, Saturday, 30 August, Durban ICC. Tickets and broadcast information at efcafrica.com.